This dinner party. I mean, is 4 people even enough to call it a party?
Come on, you love Paul and Mandy.
They're fine, just boring. Besides, I just hate giving up our Friday nights when I know we can be at home relaxing.
Yeah, what you call relaxing, I call having sex and then arguing over what song to play next on YouTube.
Last for Time. This was really well done. It was really unique. Um, the guy who played Cal was just he was so convincing. He was so creepy right from the beginning. You get bad vibes from him. So great job to the actor. And what an interesting concept. He was like joking about having this time machine, but actually he wasn't. And basically he just gets into relationships with these women, and when he finds someone that he is more excited by or more interested in, he just, turns on his time machine and goes back so that he can meet them instead and start a life with them, and the cycle continues. So yeah, I really liked the concept. I thought it was really well done. Didn't Not predictable, like you really didn't know where it was going. It definitely didn't predict that there was an actual time machine. So it was like fun, and it was creative, and it was creepy, and it was all of the things. It was a really, really well done film. Great watch.
This review is for A Lost for Time. This title is quite clever. Um, yep, this word lost really gives everything. But you don't know that until you finish watching it. So this is just clever. The irony here is so on point. I liked how the characters we learned about them by exploring and establishing what this is about with the characters, and just how powerful this technology would be, and the decision to use it for this level of vanity and personal pleasure is just beyond ridicule. It's not romantic at all, but an excellent depiction of an inability to be content with anything, which is also an ailment of the heart. And just very powerful script. Um, I appreciate the intention and the drama behind this story, and it was just quite clever and original. I really enjoyed it.
This was a really good film with a lot of potential and some really great moments. There was some interesting writing and there was some really good performances. The one thing that I would like to point out, because it seems to be becoming more and more of an issue with films, is the sound mix. When we're sitting around in the family room there talking about that song that's been played a million times, let's get a taste of it and let's bring that level down. It's just too loud. We can barely hear the actors. Um, and it's just something that I'm noticing more and more of. So I think that aside, really a great job. We could just afford to give a little more love and attention to the audio mix, and let's bring the voices of the actors back to the front where I believe they belong. All in all, though, great job. Everyone really does top-notch performances, strong direction too. Just that one little quirk. Otherwise, fantastic film. Everyone involved should be really proud.
The Lust for Time was amazing. Had a very serious tone, but then it turned into like the sci-fi thriller with almost comedic element to it. But the shots were great, the blocking, the acting was pretty good. I also like the color scheme was pretty nice. I think it's definitely shot on 35 millimeter, I think, with a stock. And it's a very simple story. Again, about couples. But then one guy becomes obsessed. He goes in time to kill another person so he can be with her in another future. So that was pretty crazy and wacky. But yeah, it was very interesting.
A Lust for Time. I think the filmmakers did a really nice job with this. I think it was incredibly well written. I loved the fact that the twist didn't come at the end. The twist came in the middle. And I think that that was just absolutely ingenious. I thought that how they started this, the shots that they did in the moving car looking at your two lead actors in the other car. I loved that. I thought that that was so well done. I also thought that the special effects, what they did in the garage, brilliant. You don't need big budget special effects to get really cool effects and to get a point across. So I loved how they did that. The only thing that left me a little disappointed about this was the end. And here's why. Carl, he's not the most likable character. So as you kind of go through this with Carl doing this from one woman to the next woman, he's a little bit selfish. And it kind of ended with him not receiving any sort of karmic retribution or getting his comeuppance in any sort of a way. It leads you to believe that he's going to continue to do this to as many women as he possibly can. And that kind of left me feeling a little crappy. I was like, oh, okay. But it was still a great film, and I still enjoyed watching it.
The next film that I saw was A Lust for Time. This one was definitely the most out there of all of the ones that I watched today, and wasn't quite what I was expecting when I was sent a group of romance films, but it is still, in a twisted sort of way, a romance film. The thing that I think works really well about this is the twist about halfway through is definitely a twist. It feels very surprising. It doesn't feel predictable or something that you could really see coming at all, but it still works for the character, it still works for the film, and it goes somewhere interesting from that. Overall, I think the premise here is what's really selling the film and what's making it as good as it is. I appreciated, on kind of more of a side note, the lighting in some of the scenes, especially Cal's encounter with Paul in the past in the park. I thought that was a really good looking scene, and the, I guess, time travel scene itself was very brightly lit with all these different colors, and that's something that I appreciated as well. I liked how Cal's kind of sinister nature reveals itself as the film progresses within that first half. I mean, even from the beginning, there's something clearly off about this guy, but the way that reveals itself and kind of reaches that midpoint climax was something that I thought was really satisfying. Overall, I thought that this idea was really interesting. It's executed pretty well here, and I think this is a pretty unique film, one that I enjoyed quite a bit.
Taking abuse to the next level, being a controlling jerk and taking other men's women. A Lust for Time really showed the dangers of what time travel could do in the hands of the wrong person, if it could ever be possible. Because Cal comes off as a character right away that's creepy, and I don't think he really cares for the women who call him out on being exactly what he is, on his personality. He essentially wants a Stepford wife. So he's probably going to go through time over and over again until he finds that Stepford wife. As he continues to lust after his friends, it makes you wonder how many of his friends has he killed throughout his time travels, and if he'll ever get caught. Could be expanded to show that, and going back and forth. It was well written to really show how big of a jerk he is, but it was good that they had women who weren't serving him and would call him out on his behavior. Time and again, he just continued to lust after him, and it showed the consequences of time travel when his first wife ends up alone, and when he, since he killed Paul, this woman's probably going to end up alone if he time travels again, because he keeps interweaving the times. It's an interesting concept of how they did that, and showing exactly what happens when it gets into the wrong hands, where he built a time machine just to steal his friends' girls.